I remember when I was a teenager, about 13, 14, that I started studying philosophy in the high school. And I remember that made me get more interested in art. And I started going to museums back then when I was that age. And I found that space of philosophy and art, that they were in constant dialogue, and I realized that was a space for wondering and making questions. And I think it was then when I realized that I wanted to be an artist, even though I didn't know what it meant. So my art practice emanates from printmaking, because this has been the field where I educated myself mostly. And I think that I got so much into printmaking because of the technicalities and the transformational work that happens before, well, let's say the end result. And over these past 10 years of practice that I've been reflecting a lot on what my practice is about, it has turned that all the alchemical dimensions of the transformation of materials, the creation of images, let's say the cooking of the art itself in the studio has become also the central theme of my practice, meaning that I am in search of the origin of things, how things turn into something else, parallelisms and analogies that I find among and between materials, and somehow that has become the starting point to start conversations, because I see my art projects as conversations, and conversations that go from the print world, meaning the three-dimensional domain, also conceptually, and it has grown into sculpture, and it always is combined also with moving image. So I generate conversations in the space and between disciplines, but somehow always using the print as a starting point. So the exhibition at Galleria Sculptor is wanting to bring together the mineral world and what we could call the celestial dome, meaning the world of the stars, to establish the idea that there is analogies and correlations between pairs of opposites, that this is something that is also very present in my practice. I started working with one image from the Nuremberg Chronicles that is depicting the fourth day of creation, where the stars, the sun and the moon were created. And somehow that allowed me to start a material conversation with copper pigments, copper sulfate crystals, and mineral ores from malachite and azurite that I picked up myself from the oldest copper mine in Europe, that is in Spain, in Texel. I decided to use that image to make a reference to the history of printmaking, also to establish also a conversation between the medium of print and sculpture, and to combine also the materials of woodcut, copper, and then also the other minerals that I've been working with. In the exhibition, you can also see the treatment, the work that I've been doing with the crystallization of copper sulfate around mineral ores, copper vessels, tubes, casts of my hands, that somehow is it's a little bit hard to define, but they are in that very uncertain place of being something that looks like something that is not precious, something that has been left behind, and then a piece of jewelry that somehow this is what I find in this material and in the crystallization with the copper sulfate. So that has allowed me to establish that conversation between materials, with the underworld, with copper pipes, with circular shapes, with a line, and somehow the exhibition is that reflection, and that simply goes to the basic idea that when we thought that the sky was made out of stone, that this is just a beautiful way of referring to mythical thinking and magical thinking of human times, how that still prevails in today's imagery of how we perceive and establish a relationship between things.